Hey, all right. It's Hard Talk Radio. I'm your host, MrDeadman. And tonight we're talking with Jess. Oh, I didn't even ask you how to pronounce his name. Norvisgaard, right?
Very close. Norvisgaard. Yeah, you got it.
Norvisgaard. Okay. God. I'll just go with Jess. I'll call you Jess. Two Jessies here.
Perfect. Perfect.
All right, man. So I don't have any shout outs or announcements here today, other than, hey guys, if you're looking for Dead Man's Tome has a new book out. I don't know if you heard about it. It's called Hollywood Holocaust. It's a collection of short stories that are themed around celebrities getting their due, whether it be like zombies or undead raising up, or vampires, or it could be homicidal maniacs or whatever that's happening. It has fun with the whole, let's say, the tabloid sort of stuff that you'd find, right? Well, oh my God, the celebrities, they're breaking up, they're being divorced. What's happening? Well, what's actually happening is some deep homicidal and borderline crazy stuff. So that's in. Here's what the book looks like. Like I said, Hollywood Holocaust. Pretty bold title. This is a pretty bold book. Check it out. It's on Amazon. And if you want an ebook version, you have to become a patron. That's pretty easy to do. It's just patreon.com/deadmanstone. There you go. Anyway, with all that said, let's go ahead and get this started. So, Jesse, or you mind if I call you Jess? Jesse? I mean, is it Jess?
Jess. Yeah,
Jess?
Jess.
Okay.
J-E-S. I mean, some people call me Jesse, but yeah, it's Jess.
All right, Jess. Who are you and what do you do?
Man, I'm just a guy. I'm a horror fan. Got into video marketing. Started doing a lot of video work for a wonderful friend of mine, Jeff Taylor, by the way. Taylor-made media, tailor-made marketing, I mean. And did a lot of work with him and my friend David Craig, and for many years. And started working at some short films and just decided I'm going to take the dive, man. We're going to make a movie. We're going to make a feature-length film. No more playing around, man. It's time to do it. And then that's what we did. So I sought out a local producer, James Suttles from Subtle Film, and we made a short film together. We kind of had an exploratory meeting and said, hey, let's feel each other out, and if this works, we'll do a feature. We did a short film, and it worked. So we said, okay, let's next step is let's do a feature film, and that's what we did. The good things devils do.
Oh, wow. So this is your first feature film.
Yes.
The good things devils do.
Yep.
Which
that's correct.
I had the honor of having Kelly Wilson Robinson on the show. She talked about the movie. I watched the movie myself, The Good Things Devils Do. I have to say, I liked it. There's some things I will ask you questions on about, during this. But overall, I definitely enjoyed it. It was really cool. Especially, I mean, what movies now pretty much are on the standstill, due to COVID and all that. It's like, and the stuff that's coming out, it's like, is this good?
Of course, I cough right when you say COVID. That's unfortunate. Yeah, but you're right. It is. It's a tough life out there. I know a lot of my actor friends who are just very frustrated and are like, listen, man, this is dried up and this is frustrating. And I can't imagine. It's tough. Tough for us filmmakers too, by the way.
So you start off doing in marketing. You were working with a friend, but then you got in touch with a producer, and then you did your first feature film. Now, but why horror though? Why that movie? Why The Good Things Devils Do? You could have done anything else, like romance, comedy, but why horror?
I'm a horror fan. I love good films, drama. I mean, my one of my favorite films in the world is De Palma's Scarface. I'm an unabashed fan of sex and violence. I love them both. I believe that there should be copious amounts of them in movies, but as an ingredient that makes sense, not just for the sake of doing it. Although I love that too. I mean, I love the trauma movies. I grew up on Trauma, Full Moon, things like that. But ultimately, I like story-driven, character-based movies. Character-driven movies. I mean, and why devils? It's a long and boring story. So the short of it is, I was working with somebody doing a lot of writing work with a few different production companies. Some I was subbing in and helping out, doing some script doctoring for some pretty bigger films. And so at the time, the kind of trade-off was, hey, maybe you're ready, maybe you're not, but give us a treatment. I don't want to say the production company or the distributor, because I want to become friends with them again. Not that it was bad, but ultimately, I made 10 treatments. They chose Devils. There was another movie that I was writing with a working title called Incarnate. It was a vampire. So the final 3 were vampire movies, and that surprised me. But they chose Devils because they thought it had the best chance to succeed. It was more comedy, which I'm not great at. I normally do very serious, kind of darker films.
You're not great at. I mean, it was pretty funny. It was pretty funny at times.
I'm glad to hear you say that. I got to tell you, it worked for some, it didn't work for others, and I understand that. You're not going to please everybody. But it was zany. But really, it was so that's why it was chosen. Now we backed off and we went with another group because I think some of the demands were asking me to sever relationships that I had already started with, such as I'm lucky enough to call them my friends now, but Linnea and Kane, Bill Oberst. Bill Oberst was one of the last guys we were really secured, by the way. So I went ahead and stayed with some of the relationships that already started. I thought it could be bad for me as a rookie to walk away for a little bit more money. And I had really liked and trusted my producer. He's an above board kind of guy. What he tells you is what he's going to do. And I just figured, gosh, I could walk away and get a little bit more money and work with some unknowns, and then walk away with the relationships that I'd already established. And that's not something I was going to do. So we made it anyway. We stayed with the Good Things Devils Do, and we made the damn thing.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting that the movies or the concepts that you had there were all vampires, and because the Good Things Devils Do, it is a vampire film, which
sort of.
And it's weird also that you say it wasn't intended to be a comedy, because I believe the review that I did on this channel I was like, man, this movie actually has a pretty good blend of horror and comedy. Like you would not.
Shit, I had the review. I have not seen this review. I didn't know you reviewed it.
I did. I'll tell you right now. Overall, I definitely enjoyed it. I thought the professor's character, which we'll get into the story. Obviously, I'll try not to reveal any sort of I guess spoilers.
Yeah.
I guess before I do the review, before I talk about some of the characters, you want to just give a rundown of what the Good Things Devils Do is?
It's a vampire horror comedy, I guess, action horror. And really it centers around 2 families coming together. Now this, I'm going to be straight up with you, man. I think this might have been a mistake. I think it might have been a little too ambitious. I think if Devils suffered anywhere, is that it was not linear enough. Maybe I bit off more than I could chew, which plenty of people warned me about. God damn it, just don't do it. And I said, no, we got it. And, but it is about 2 families colliding into this one crazy night. And basically this character, Melvin, he's dreamt his whole life of retiring and starting his Museum of the Macabre, these little horror and spooky, funky trinkets and of things of darkness and mysterious and mystique. And so he has this, what he believes to be the remains of a vampire, which is going to be really cool. And he thinks it's this, vampire with a stake in her, but it turns out it's mostly dust. And he's like, shit. But, and meanwhile, these criminals are on their way to set up a criminal rival and rob them. Mm-hmm. And so those 2 stories collide, and that's essentially it. They collide on a night that it happens to initiate a reawaken of a vampire, and it happens to be on Halloween night.
Yeah, right. And that part reminded me, of course, of Halloween.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was intentional. If it was, great.
Yeah.
Cool. But that's one of my favorite horror movies growing up. I think a lot of people would say that. Halloween, especially of course, I'm talking about the original. Now
I'll tell you what was important to me. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. What was very important to me is if we're gonna do a Halloween movie, which was important. I loved Halloween, and I love it's my favorite holiday. Is that we had a Halloween feel. I hope we succeeded there. It was not just about. It wasn't just about having, oh, hey, we got some pumpkins and jack-o'-lanterns and something happens on Halloween night. I wanted to incorporate the holiday into like some of the plot, like the bad guys are using costumes to walk right up to the house and get in there. Uh, they're going to hide their identities with this.
I know you can't see it because my webcam's not on for you. Well, I would put it with the bandwidth, but I'm holding the. I just so happen to have that mask, that skull mask that Percy uses. Or
nice.
Kane Hodder uses in the movie.
Yeah.
Except mine's modified to where I could drink through it and smoke cigars through it.
Nice. I wish I could see that. That would be awesome.
Let me turn on my webcam just for that. I'll do that for you.
If you can,
It shouldn't affect the stream that much. Let's see. All right. I don't know if can you see it now?
Yes, I totally can.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
And if it's going to affect the stream, you can kill it again, man. You can kill it totally.
All right.
I love it.
But anyway, yeah, you definitely got the Halloween feel, and so people said that it was too much for you to choose, too much for you to chew, too ambitious for you to have like two families, the story of like two families colliding. I actually enjoyed the fast pace of it because you have this crime family, you kind of get what's going on. You don't really need a whole bunch of exposition; it's kind of there. I mean,
one of the problems for me, to be honest with you, one of the problems for me is that in the script. And I don't want to give anything away. There were some very defined areas that explained what I feel didn't make it to the movie clear enough. And my producers, quite frankly, wisely warned me. They said, you're going to have to be very careful with this. And we'll do this if you want to do this, but you've got to be very careful because we have a certain amount of days. We had a very, very micro budget, man. We had almost no money. And it was a horrifically small budget, and so we had to be very careful. And we only had a few days. I mean, we shot this I think in 12, 14. It was either 12 or 14 days. For some reason I can't remember. It's 12 or 14 days. I think it was 12, but if I'm wrong, it was 14. And we didn't go over. We had stringent rules we had to follow, in a budget of around $100,000. So it was a little nuts. If I could go back again, I think I would make sure that I was clear about some things. But it is what it is. You know, we learned from our flaws of the first movie. And one thing I'm very glad about that was very important to me doing this was the type of horror movie that we see so much now, especially on Netflix and on Amazon. You know, these VOD straight to video movies. They're fucking boring. They use day players, and a day player is a term. It's an industry term for we're going to put somebody on the cover, and then you're going to see him for 5 minutes in the movie. Mm-hmm. They're talky, dialogue-driven, or really quiet. Two people running through the woods the entire fucking time, and you'll have a really interesting trailer, and everything that you see on the trailer are going to be the high spots of the movie.
Right.
And I feel it rips the audience off. It's fucking boring. It's the new age of movie making. It's cheap movie making. It's production line. These fucking distribution companies. Let's just take this. Oh, great. That's got someone on their cover. Boom. Let's make our bottom line. Boom. Let's move on to the next one. I fucking despise it. So I went old school. We're going to do a throwback and we're going to use practical effects. We're not doing a damn bit of CGI.
That's what I like. I like that.
We did actually have a little bit blood splash and some flames, but it
was mostly practical, and I noticed that and definitely enjoyed that. So I mean, I got the family dynamics through, like I said, a little bit of dialogue in the beginning. A lot of it was done not through like exposition, from what I noticed. It was like in the moment, the scene, it's happening now. The dialogue's happening. Obviously, Bill Oberst's character has a problem with this Kane guy, or a Percy guy, and that's his daughter. And he has a interesting relationship with his daughter. Not really the father that he should have been. And more of that stuff comes out during the movie, during different scenes of it, instead of all being spelled out for you in the very beginning, like some cookie cutter, films would do, stories would do. I actually enjoyed that, because you learn more about the characters as it's going on.
I'm glad. I'm very glad you did. That's music to my ears. ultimately that's what I intended. And again, I think we had plenty of misses in there. It was a flawed feature. It was my first feature film, but honestly, the reviews I think have been mostly positive. Some of them had said, "Hey, buddy, you had a few misses, but ultimately mostly good." What I am proud of is that we made a fun movie. It moved. I believe it moved fast. I hope it moved
Oh,
fast.
it moved fast. It was good. But fast in a good way for me. Like,
Yeah,
I
and we
mean,
didn't do the day player model, man. Kane was in there. Linnea was in there.
mhm,
Bill was in. Bill was one of the, was the star, if not one of the stars. And obviously Kane would have been in there if we had more of a budget. Obviously Linnea would have been, but they did not play the day player mold. They were active players in the movie,
right.
and they had what they did had consequence to the rest of the cast.
Okay. Now, I asked you to kind of explain the movie and describe the movie, so that way when I kind of give a little snippet of what I said during the review, it has some context there. So,
Sure.
yeah, I did describe it as like a horror comedy blend, and overall, I definitely enjoyed it. I like what the actress brought to the table. To me, it seemed pretty real, especially their dynamic. I thought what's his name? The father, well, I guess he is a father. The stepdad's character, he was hilarious. Melvin was
No.
hilarious. You're telling me you didn't write him to be funny? Because his lines were funny and the way he delivered them, I was like, this guy's a character. He doesn't realize how funny he is. He's so goofy. But
I don't know how good I am at it. Yeah, absolutely. That was the intent. Now, let me tell you something about David Rucker. That's David Rucker the third.
Mhm.
He had probably the hardest role in the movie. He had by far the most dialogue.
Mhm.
Um, and boy, it was unforgiving. He was there the most days. He had the most dialogue. He was a total pro. He's wonderful. Blew the audition away, and we abused him on the audition. By the way, we abused him because Melvin was such an important character, and we had him. He is a little sadistic, as a matter of fact. We had him performing a certain way, cut him off right then, have him do it another way, but make him feel like maybe he's not doing good enough, and then send him home. Because I wanted to know how he responded, because he had such a huge role, and Melvin could not. We can have other characters if they weren't a certain way, maybe that how I saw him that would work, but Melvin had to work.
Mhm.
And he did. He answered the bell every time, and I told him, I said, man, I said, this is all yours, man, all yours. I'm really lucky, very blessed that David Rucker came in for the call, man. It's been wonderful. He's phenomenal. I need to see him in more movies. People gotta understand this guy's a diamond in the rough.
Mhm. Yeah, I was surprised. Like, he doesn't have much horror under his belt, huh?
No, mostly dramatic.
Yeah, dramatic.
Yeah.
But in the way he delivered his lines and all that, I thought it was. I mean, I thought it was on point. He came off as a kind of dorky professor that got involved a little too far, a bit too much. Bit too much for him to chew.
Yeah.
And was just, but very arrogant and all that stuff. Like he's hiding something,
Right.
I think this guy's
Right.
questionable. But when he got serious though about his stepdaughter, but like, we have a stepdaughter who's like in her 40s or in her 30s. It was
that's what Kelly
hilarious.
comes That's right. That's right. And it's funny because I just wanted to paint this kind of strange family, almost cartoony. And this is the part that I still think, even in the reviews, like a lot of people say it worked, a lot of people say it didn't, and I'm going to leave it up to the viewer. But a really cartoony, almost what do you call it? Leave it to Cleaver or whatever, Leave it to Beaver, whatever the hell it's called, and this kind of zany, perfect family on the outside. They're all smiling and cutesy, but they're all fucked up.
Yeah.
That runs into these really nasty characters, and yet the juxtaposition with Melvin, who should be the good guy, and Richard, who's played by Bill Oberst Jr., who should be the bad guy, gets a little fishy.
Mhm.
Who really is probably the better person at the end. It's we find out that everything isn't always what it looks like.
Right. And not to give too much away, but the when they crash into each other, they they're pinned to, well, Bill Oberst being the criminal character, he goes in the house for a reason. But it turns out that they have to actually work together to survive, to make it to the night. But then at the end, it's still like, wait a second, I was hired to do something. Do I want to do it? You know.
Right.
That's cool. Now, what I said in the review, though, my I guess my complaint, my sort of critique would be, and I'm not a filmmaker. I have a couple projects under my belt, but nothing to brag about or anything like that. But my only complaint was the vampire, the sounds that you hear when the vampire does her things, like the sort of dragon demon sounds sort of thing. They kind of remind me from like dragons off of like World of Warcraft or something. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That part was like, oh, what's it seemed weird. It seemed like I didn't know if it really belonged or something. It felt like this. I felt like the sound was pumped in from the studio and wasn't like really there in the scene. That was a problem. I mean, maybe if the sound was like level, I don't know how you would do it. I'm not a sound guy. It just it didn't really mix. Am I the only one who said that?
Yes, but I feel other people think that. I don't think you're the only one who believes that, or feels like that. Yeah. You're the only one who said it. I do know that during the post process, we talked a lot about that. We worked with a lot of it. We did have a deadline. This sounds like an excuse, but it is what it is. Mm-hmm. It is pumped in from the studio. Veronica Stoikova, who did the vampire, her real vampire voice was pretty on point, and it's mostly intact. But there was a lot of debate. It's this vampire from hell. Is there a legion? Is there a different voice? So there was a lot of different things played with, and I think at the end we just kind of went what we went with. Right. Was it perfect? Was it everything I wanted? No. Was it adequate enough to get it through to give us this kind of this kind of thing? Sure. If we had more money and time, would we have done it differently? Sure. But we had so little to play with. I think the editor, whose name is Aaron Putnam, he's great. I think he was under the. He performed fantastically through such tight deadlines, and we sat down and we said, you know what, let's get this. This is what we're happy with. We're good with it. Let's go. And what happens. I knew not everyone would like it. Some people love it. Some people are like, wow, that's really scary. Some people are like probably feeling like you do. I'm not sure that works. And ultimately that's what we got, that's what we got ultimately. So.
Yeah. And the reason I bring that up is just, it was of course what came to mind when I saw it. I was like, oh man, okay. It sounds weird. But at the same time, the vampire character was cool. And there was elements in the sound that was like, I did get the sense that there was like other demons kind of like in that voice or whatever. Yeah. And the sort of laughter and all that, like the sort of chaotic laughter and collusion of sounds was a pretty cool element in a way. As not a really bad decision overall. I think, if it was like mixed better, it probably would sound better. I'm not,
Sure. Absolutely. And I mean, that's a fair beef. I mean, especially us horror fans, we're going to have beefs with certain things. I think that's a totally fair beef.
Now, like I said, overall, I definitely did enjoy it. Let's see, what are some other things that came to mind in the review? I definitely talked about the horror comedy element. I did talk about the two stories sort of colliding together, and I like that. I have these two families, and then the homage to classic horror. Like
lots of.
I thought the use of Halloween was totally an homage to Halloween, the original. Mm-hmm. I definitely enjoyed that. And also the throwback to Linnea. Did I say her name right? Linnea? Linnea? Yep. Yeah. Having her in the movie and then having Kelly do a sort of throwback to her.
And what a good job she did. Linnea was so gracious. She enjoyed it. They both enjoyed it. They're both good friends now. Kelly took it like a champion. Uh, she she practices the pose. I think there's somewhere on Facebook. I think a picture. I think Kelly has made the picture. Someone made the picture.
Mm-hmm.
That basically did a side by side of those two.
Oh
it's
yeah.
floating around.
Oh yeah.
But
We showed that. We showed that
perfect.
image when she was on the show when Kelly Wilson Robinson was, and
Yeah.
She does that. She plays a throwback to the scene was in the Night of the Demons, right? Night of the Demons.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kevin Tenney's Night of the Demons, and it's the shot. It's the ass shot where Linnea is leaning down in the grocery store. This time, Kelly's leaning down in her bedroom. She's far too old to be living how she's living and living almost as a teenager.
Yes.
She's a stalker incarnate. And she leans down, hoping to catch the attention of some delivery guy. And she's hoping to maybe get some date on Halloween night,
Right. Right. Her character was hilarious. It was definitely Arrested Development there. It was like, what happened to her? And
yes.
That could be a whole side story too of like what happened with her character. How did she end up that way? It was kind of funny though.
It never made it into movies, sadly, and just time restrictions was a relationship. Some of it was shot, not enough of it was shot. Didn't matter, didn't make it in. It was a relationship between Linnea and Kelly's character that did explain some of that. But it is what it is. A lot of things get cut. A lot of our darlings get murdered on the cutting room floor.
That's true.
Yeah.
Now, when Kelly was on, she told me about the story of related to the panties, to the panty shot.
Which story?
Well, the one where apparently the undies the panties she was supposed to wear was a thong, but it was like, no, I'm not wearing this thong because if I do, it's gonna show too much. And she was like. And I guess you guys had a beef about it, some sort of fight about it.
We did.
She told me her side of the story. Can you tell me your side of the story?
Yes, it's a battle she won. She came to me. She said, "Okay, so you want a thong? You got a thong, and all the wardrobe and all the demands and such." She said, "Jess." She gave me a call. She said, "Jess." She goes, "We got a problem." I said, "What?" She said, "This thong's not going to work." I said, "What do you mean it's not going to work?" She said, "It shows too much." I said, "That's the element of the character." I said, "Don't worry about it. It's fine. Your ass is a nice ass. It's fine. We're going to show it in the movie." She's like, No. I can't. I said, "What do you mean you can't?" She goes, "I can't. I'm telling you, trust me on this." I said, "No, I'm not going to, I trust you, but I don't like no, and I don't like I don't like no for an answer." I'm like, "No, fucking, you're going to wear a thong, Kelly." I said, this is, you're playing this character. And, she said, "No, I have panties that are far better. Trust me. I'm going to show you. I'll give you pictures. I'll send pictures your way." So I was huffing and puffing, and I was like, "God damn." She sent the pictures, and the thong was far too revealing. And it's just like she said, it wasn't that it's necessarily revealing. It looked trashy, and it didn't go with her character. And you really couldn't see the panties. So it almost looked nude and looked like, why are we doing that? It's just gratuitous, almost like a look shot, like, hey, we're gonna be hardcore. Right. But then she showed the other panties. Not only were they classy, she says, "I promise you, they're still sexy, super sexy." They were, and they did not, because I thought they looked like granny panties at first. I was like, "Oh hell no!" But they weren't at all. They were very revealing, very sexy, and so I said, "Okay, I'm shutting the hell up. You win. We're going with yours." Yes, and that's how that.
She won that fight. She won that fight for a good reason there. Yeah. It sounds like she made the good call.
She helped a lot with wardrobe. Kelly is she's a very pretty woman, but she's also very smart. She helped in a lot of different facets in the movie. And she knows, like she said, "Man, you got to listen to me sometimes. I know my body. I know it looks good." I said, okay. So yeah, she won. Yeah,
I think that was the best call there. She would know what was going on with her body, what would look better. And it pays off. You get that panty shot, especially. It's not the panty shot that pays off. It's the fact that it looks like it is a tribute to Night of the Demons, that Night of the Demons scene. Which if it was a thong, it wouldn't be, because that character wasn't wearing a thong. That character.
Right, that's very true. We had a lot of homages. We had Creepshow homages. We had Night of the Demons homages. Yep. And the score, who I did with Neil Lee Griffin. We had score homages to John, oh my God, don't mess it up, Jess. I think it's John Harrison of Creepshow and Day of the Dead. Original soundtrack. We mixed up a lot of those. He and I wrote that together.
Oh, that's the soundtrack was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. The soundtrack to this movie was awesome. And the opening credit was like what it was animated.
Justin Born Boring. If you can look him up on Facebook. His name is Justin Boring. He goes by Justin Bourne. Justin Born Boring. An incredible artist. He's hitting some success now. I mean, he's been so good at this for a long time. And a lot of people like Billy Pond of Circus of the Dead, a lot of other people are reaching out to him. He's doing some work with them and some of the Dead cards. I mean, it's amazing. We had a lot of really good people working on this, who kind of getting back into this thing. Yeah. And he did a lot of the animation. He made the shirts. He made this shirt.
Nice.
Poster art. He's brilliant. He's brilliant. We had a lot of good people on this thing, man. We really did. I was very lucky. Who, like Neil and Justin, both, and Kelly on the pre-production end, with so many other names I can name, who did so much for so little, for nothing sometimes.
Oh yeah, Kelly described herself as like a cheerleader, kind of sort of for the show or for the movie, like heavily involved in getting it, getting the word out there, which is very important.
Well, let me tell you something about Kelly. Anyone who wants to cast people, now I have a lot of actors in this film who are wonderful in this regard. Kelly, when you go in, she'll be a cheerleader. She'll help in all facets. But after the movie, some actors ditch you. Some actors will walk away and just not give it any attention. She is one of the greatest forces for marketing. We have David Rucker, who's amazing. Veronica Stoikova, Bill Oberst Jr., by the way, and Linnea. Okay, listen, Bill Oberst Jr. doesn't have to do what he does. He always throws out the word. He always talks about it. He's contractually, I think they're obligated for one session. He's a godsend. That's all I can tell you. Bill Oberst is a gentleman. He is a marketing wonder, in the sense that if he really believes in you and what he does, he'll give you word all day long, way past when it's due. I'm lucky that we have some people who will really put in the extra miles. But going back to like Kelly and David Rucker, who did not have to, they're still talking about it all the time, and I'm so lucky.
Yeah, and to have Bill Oberst there, oh my God! Like talk about powerful presence. Like that dude is pretty damn good. I mean, so when he plays a character, he gets really invested into it.
He is. He's very intense on set. So can I tell you two little stories about
Sure.
Well, one is a story about Bill, and the other is about Kane, and they're acting stories. So Bill, when we cast Bill, I was really worried because Richard is he's a star, and I was struggling with the auditions. There were a lot of good auditions, but auditions that I didn't really feel hit the mark. My producer said, "I've worked with Bill. Let's call Bill." I said, "We're not getting Bill." He said, "Yeah, we can get Bill." So we called him. Bill and I have a very long talk. Reads the script. He loved the script. He said, "Listen, we'll do it." Excuse me.
It's okay.
Heartburn. I apologize. And
yeah, I get that too sometimes.
Mr. Deadman, I got laid off from my boss of 5 years via text message at dinner an hour after.
Oh,
work.
Thanks, Tony G.
Cheers.
Is he donating to me or you? No, I'm teasing. I know he's donating to me.
I guess to me, but he said he got laid off from his boss 5 years via text message at dinner an hour after work. Cheers. He gave me $10. Now I feel bad about that. Well, I hope
tacky. No texting, man. You dial it up and you do it the right way.
Yeah, holy hell, man. And I hope you're good. I hope you have like no one like oh my God, like what do? You get laid off. You get laid off by text message by your boss? What? He can't even call you up.
Who knows why you get laid off? It's a tough economy, but not through text message, man. Come the hell on.
Yeah. I'm curious what his backup plan is going to be. I don't know. Hopefully he finds work fast. I don't know anything about his situation. What would work, but I'll hope him the best. Wish him the best.
Gun and a mask. I'm teasing about that.
Gun and a mask and.
Thanks. They're insured.
Start an OnlyFans.
Yes.
You can do that
too.
Yes.
By the way, I'm kidding everyone.
It's okay.
So Bill says, I love the script, but he cusses a lot. It was a very, very filthy language. I mean, Richard was fuck this and fuck that. Everything was fuck. He says, I really like to, I feel like if you'll work with me and you'll collaborate with me, Jess, he said, I'd like to take him from I hope I'm getting the name right. Cary Grant, the guy in A Christmas Story.
Mm-hmm.
Cary Grant. If it isn't, it's the guy in The Christmas Story. But this really kind of almost a wholesome. He's a criminal, but he just doesn't cuss. He said for whatever reason I've got the vibe that he doesn't cuss. And at the end of the way, he says, hey fucking bitch, or whatever he says. Hey bitch. Then he says his line to the vampire.
Yeah.
But I was resistant about it at first. I went to bed and I thought on it, and I came back and I thought to myself, it's Bill Oberst Jr. He's a performer to the highest degree. Yes, is he a cult horror fan? Absolutely, but he could be right up there with Pacino and De Niro had he gotten whatever role. And he just loves his genre so much, and that's why the people love him so much. It's genuinely a true passion and love. He's such a wonderful and intense performer. So I said, yes, I'm going to listen to you on this, and let's collaborate on this. Let's figure out what we can do. So that was interesting. So the character took on a much different dynamic, and so we had a rewrite. The story with Kane is, so Kane, who's obviously Jason Voorhees and many other iconic roles. Kane is really, really smart in real life.
Right.
Really, really, he's Mensa smart. He's brilliant. But he says to me, and Kane's going to kill me for saying this. He says, I just don't see this guy as having a lot of lines. I said, I do. And so he read the script, and Percy, though he was not in the film for a long time, he had some long monologues. And I don't know if it's because people had not given him the chance, but I told him, I said, you're going to have to trust me on this, Kane. You're going to be fired. This is going to be good. Well, he said, I'm not sure about, I don't doubt that, but I just scaled me back a little bit. So I lied to him and said I did. And when he got there, I didn't. And so I think he was a little perturbed with me, a little irritated with me. Okay. But he did the scene. All right. And it was the steady cam monologue in the very beginning in his opener. And he got it I believe he got it on the first take. Camera never moved away.
That's good.
Yeah. A long 3-minute shot, camera, no cuts. And he won, he won the Lon Chaney Award. He won the Lon Chaney Award for this, for The Good Things Devils Do.
What is the Lon Chaney Award?
It's a fucking badass acting award in the horror genre. And Bill Oberst won it in 2014, so it's like badass. Bill Oberst Jr. and Kane Hodder both have the Lon Chaney, and they were both in the Devils. And not only that, but Kane got his Lon Chaney from Devils. So that was cool. That was cool.
I think this has to be one of the first times I've seen Kane Hodder like actually have a long or any sort of monologue, really. He's more like just, they treat him as like the background guy, like the muscle. He's going to be the guy in the suit.
He's incredibly scary.
Yeah.
He's incredibly intimidating. Even in real life, he's a savage presence. He's a nice guy, but his presence is intense. And he is a nice guy, but he's just off kilter enough in real life. And that might be his aura, and he might play it up. He's a father. He's a gentleman. He's a very nice man in real life. He's very good to his fans, so good to his fans. And his fans are rabid fans. But he does have that presence in real life that he could break and kill everyone. And
don't mess with him.
Yeah, and there was a moment when he put on his mask and he started slamming his fists into his chest and moving around like a bull in a china shop, kicking.
He gets into the role like that, huh? Is that his secret?
I don't know. He did it that day. And I'll tell you this one thing. He always says, "Give me my cue." He says, "Okay, dolly 1, dolly 2. There's your mark, and this is a dialogue cue." And he's got it first take, man. He's a pro's pro.
Yeah, his scenes are very intense in this movie. Like, when he breaks into the house and he's holding Kelly's character by gunpoint, I was like, holy crap, that looks intense. In fact, that screen freeze or the screenshot, that looks very real. If I just were to put it on the screen, it's like, Yeah, that looks like someone's getting mugged right there. That looks like someone's about to die.
Kane's a pro, so let me tell you, he was gentle on her. He's an absolute pro. This is a guy who's also a stunt coordinator. He's akin to a pro wrestler. He can make it look savage and yet take good care of his partner. So Kelly at the time was not prepared for that. And she later joked around at a convention we were later at, where we won some awards for. She said, Kane, she says, you didn't grab my hair hard enough. She goes, let's do take two. And he about scalped her on take two. So it was funny.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I don't know why you would want two takes on that thing with that guy.
Yeah.
But Kelly strikes me as well, she's very fun. I'll just put it that way.
She's fun, she's smart, she's wild.
Mm-hmm. Wow. There you go. That's the word I was looking for.
She is a good presence on set, like all of them. I gotta tell you, I've had no complaints about my actors. All of my actors I just loved having there. They were so good to have on set. No prima donna bullshit. And it was a cold set, by the way. I have to tell you, with Kelly, with Veronica Stoikova, who played Masquerade, and Mary Catherine O'Donnell, who played Mouse, they were in skimpy suits. And with Mary and Veronica in particular, they had a scene outside, and so Veronica was buried into the dirt up to her neck. In fucking freezing ass cold temperatures in January. Mary was absolutely covered and saturated in blood and was just shaking. And when it was time to take off the heat blankets and go, man, boy, did they ever do it. I got to tell you, they could have complained so much. And everybody was covered in blood. Linnea was covered in blood. Bill was covered. Everybody was covered.
It is a very bloody movie, man. Yeah. Bill Ober's character gets stabbed how many times? I'm surprised he was able to walk around like,
after death blow.
Yeah. It's crazy.
A little comic bookish in that. It's a little pulpish. When did that... I almost said another title of another movie. The Good Things Devils Do is very pulpish. So people take death blows and keep on ticking, man. That's, it is what it is.
That happens in horror. All the time. Now, you mentioned Kane Hodder. So we got to talk about Percy a little bit. Was there some controversy with Percy's character? I would imagine so, with the intensity of the opening scene, which is something I've watched a lot of horror movies. I've not seen that in a while. Not that intensity anyway.
Good. Yes. The answer is yes. Good and bad. So in the creative process, Percy was not as bad. And I looked at the first 15 minutes, and I had all my notes on the board. We were getting ready to go into production in like fucking 3 days. And my producer and I were worried at the beginning, we're gonna have to move some things around. What are we looking at? And I said, yeah, he's not bad enough. He's not bad enough. So we made him bad. One of the things was, for me, he was a very misogynistic character.
Yeah.
And I was blamed to be a lot of people, in some reviews in particular, maybe 2 or 3, they said, this movie's shit. After I saw the Percy scene, he hates women and fuck him. And I'm like, fuck you too.
It's a character. Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking piss off. But right. You're not going to please everyone. But part of me likes that part of me likes that they're running off.
People, not to go too far off in the woods here, but people, they put on like character attributes, like they're like fictional characters, onto the director and writers as if like it's literally them. And it's like, it could just be, and most likely just a character for a reason. Like, come on now. Come on.
Kane's tasked with being a bad guy. And with the Kane characters, he was, without giving spoilers, he is essentially, he's one bad guy and Masquerade is one bad guy. He is a very big brooding man, and Masquerade is a small Latin American woman. And so when they run into each other, there is a fight without giving out too much. And there's a physical fight between the two. And that's part of what we're dealing with here. Kane is a man who says horrible things to women. One of his opening lines is the line that gets a lot of people angry about women. Mm-hmm. and even Kane, when he was looking at the dialogue and he just kind of laughed. He said, "God damn." And, he knew he was going to get some heat for this.
This guy gives no shits. And I'm glad he didn't say no to it. I'm glad he was like willing to do it because
Kane loves savagery. Kane loves badness. He does. It's in him.
And I like seeing that on camera and also in the horror that I read, not because I like to see it, but because it reflects real life. That's real life, man. A real life criminal.
And if I'm going to create a heel, I want to create a heel that you don't like. I want to create a heel that brings intensity. I want to create a heel that brings fire. I'm tired of this bullshit. I'm tired of boring. Every movie now, 90% of them are fucking bore fests, and I'm sick of it. And I'm sick of us sucking the dicks off these people and saying, "Oh, they're good. They're good because for the last 10 years, movies have been just okay, and this is one of the better ones." I'm tired of it, man. I'm fucking tired of it.
Right? We need some intense villains, intense heels.
Let's bring back the fun. Let's bring back the heat. Let's quit being boring because we don't have money. No money's not an excuse to fucking create a snooze fest. We're gonna create, hot tension. We're gonna create high octane, and we're gonna create horror, blood, and gore. Now, obviously, not every movie has to have those ingredients, but I wanted to make the first one that I just wanted it to be fun, and I do think it succeeded. It's a fun movie.
Now you mentioned people say people don't want to go all the way with their characters and push the envelope because of no money. I thought it was because of maybe like concerns of like political correctness and maybe certain woke things. I have no, I hear about that stuff. I don't know.
Well, I tell you that I think we got hurt in some reviews on that. There are a few reviews that basically said, "Well, as soon as I saw the scene, I knew I was in for a shit fest."
Yeah.
And that's their right. That's fine. That's fair. But like I say, I go back to the Mel Gibson heel. A heel is a bad guy. It's a pro wrestling term. I'm a pro wrestling fan. So a heel is a bad guy. It's an antagonist. But Masquerade is Devil's main antagonist. But I go back to Mel Gibson, his archetype. Remember in Braveheart, these two old fuckers are raping the love interest of Mel Gibson's character, William Wallace. They're laughing and sticking their tongues out. No one laughs like that. No one gives the evil laugh while they're raping someone. Even the awful people who deserve to be killed, who are the real rapists, they don't laugh like that. But the bad guys in that movie did because they're bad. So the bad guys here are going to be bad. And you don't like it, that's fine. I don't want you to dislike them. Don't worry. Maybe people get their just desserts. Maybe they don't. Maybe maybe we don't follow that formula. But yeah, we're gonna make the bad guys bad.
It's like they're depicted that way because you're supposed to hate them. They want you to hate them. They're doing a vile thing in a very over the top way because you're supposed to hate them. So when people go, "Oh, I can't stand this. It's triggering me," you're supposed to be triggered. Now direct your anger at the character and hope that they die or get their due. Don't direct it at the director or at the actual actor who portrayed the character. It's like, what?
They can correct me all they want, man. It's their right. But listen, even when Percy, even when he takes his shotgun and blows a hole through a Masquerade, she falls to her knees, and he's like, "That's right. That's a good girl. On your knees, bitch." And again, it's that misogyny. It's like, "Oh, hell no, he did not just do that." But she's a vampire and she doesn't have to take that shit. And so then she starts turning the tables. She's a little woman. Even though she's a vampire, she's the heel, but she is a woman and she starts turning the tables on him rather quickly. And
very quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. And so he gets his ass kicked by a woman.
Yeah. See, he gets his due. It's poetic justice in a way.
Right. Absolutely.
So now you kind of mentioned a little bit what you would do differently. We talked about that just a little bit, like what you would do differently with this film if you could do it again, anything that you would change, and what worked really well, and then we'll get into what you're working on
the horizon.
What's next in the chamber or in the hopper, I should say. All right, so what would you do differently for the good things the devils do, if you're given that chance?
Very easy answer for me, and I don't want to say too much because there are some spoilers involved, but there are some scenes that I very foolishly thought in the fog of production. We shot 8 to sometimes 12 pages a day, And again, I'm going to give another shout out to my producer. Fucking could not have done it without him and that crew. And my amazing actors. Anyway, we had a lot of work, and I'm a rookie, and so I'm like, I don't need the scene. It's not as important. And basically, it was in the bar. It was with the transaction of the address. He gives Bill the address, and it's upside down. That was not made clear. So there is some in the screenplay. There is some question on whether they hit the right address. In the movie, it does not play strong enough. And there's even a dolly shot where it comes in and we have the musical cue, whoa, and it shows the numbers on the house. And back on it, we searched for something we could use in editing, and boy, my fault, the director's fault, it lands on my feet. I got the shot. I said, well, we got the shot. We're good. Let's move on to the next one. Well, guess what? I didn't get enough of the footage that could have said, oh, are they getting the wrong address? Which creates the entire question for the entire rest of the film, which helps the epilogue. And I feel like the epilogue is not clear enough now because we lost an integral part. It seemed so minor at the time, but it was anything. It was critical. And your rookie director you're talking to fucked that up, and I missed it. And because of that, I can tell you a lot of the reviews are like, well, yeah, what's going on with Melvin's house? It's my fault. So if I could change anything, man, it would be to catch that.
It does sound like a small thing. It seems like a minor detail, right? But as someone who watched it and reviewed it, let me just tell you what I picked up on. I didn't think that they got the wrong house until maybe at the end when he was asking about the money. Ask about the money. I don't have the money. I was thinking maybe they got the wrong house, kind of middle of the movie. But then at the end, there was this. So, do you not have any money here? Do you didn't get some transactions? He's like, no. But at that point, honestly, the Melvin character seemed kind of like he could be deceiving us because he's not fully honest because he didn't really destroy that body in the first place. Like you said,
don't say what, but yes.
So
I'm glad you said that because that gives enough. What word am I looking for, man? Can't think of the word.
Evidence gives enough evidence, or
it gives us enough of because I can't think of the word here. It just gives us enough fogginess to it, to where we do question the intent and the motivations and maybe whether it is house. And thank God for that, because if that wasn't there, it would have been a spear, I think, in the plot structure. It already bleeds because of that. But thank God it's fun. Thank God it's linear. It's linear enough for two stories coming across and converging. Thank God for all of the other things that I think saved it. Not a lot of that's reviews even said that. They said, listen, this has some faults, but this is a fucking good, fun ass movie. And it's good. And it's a character driven one. They've had less characters. I could have fleshed them out more. And in the screenplay, we lost probably about 20 pages of that. But we made our choices. We made our choices on the cutting room floor, and we have what we have.
Okay. Now, what worked really well for you in this movie? Like, what's one thing that really stands out as far as, man, this is great? Something that really stands out for you or work on this film?
Actors. My crew, I probably wanted to kill me at some points. I was a rookie hollering around at everyone like I've been doing it for 20 years. And I think if they could have killed me, they would. And I'm thankful for them for not. I'm glad I'm still here.
You boss Kane around? That must have been intimidating. That must have been really intimidating to boss Kane around, be like, all right, you're gonna be doing this. I'm gonna be doing what now?
Not to be intimidated, but because of that, I think they got irritated with me sometimes. But thank God I didn't have to boss him around. I was just saying, hey, let's do this, let's do that. It was a very co-creative process with the actors. I gave them a lot of latitude. They earned every bit of it. Mary, by the way, I have to tell you, she's so sheepish and she's so sweet in real life. She talks like this. And And I was like, I don't know, you know, are you going to be able to scream and be crazy enough? And in the audition, she ran over there and screamed and started fake stabbing the wall. And I was like, okay, all right.
That's the
You know,
person. Yeah. Yeah.
here she is. Here she is. And she's incredible. The actors all just did so well. So I think that's what worked. I think the fact that people were unsure of me. I'm a rookie. Who is this guy? I chose wisely. I chose a producer who had good experience. I chose actors who had good experience, and I chose my rising stars: David Rucker, Mary Catherine O'Donnell, Ian Patrick Mendez, Kelly Wilson Robinson. All these people have 3 fucking names, uh, and they're all risers. And damn, they're so good. They're so good. And I was, that's what worked. That's what worked. Man, their performances, they made it incredibly easy on me. God, it could have been so much worse. This could have been a nightmare.
Now,
10 to 12.
Do you think they made
pages a day, 12 days.
Do you think they made it easy on you because maybe due to COVID, they didn't really have a lot of other work?
Nope. This was shot pre-COVID. This would never survive COVID. The fucking blood and all of the body to body interaction and the extreme violence in some of these scenes. This would not be made in COVID days.
Not on a Hollywood set anyway. Not
shit.
California.
Not even an independent, because we had SAG and we'd have had to bring the COVID cops. We'd have been dead in the water.
You'd have to be really homemade. You'd have to be like Backyard Project.
Another thing that worked was Kane Hodder. And that was a big question mark. People said, listen, this could turn a lot of people off. I do think it hurt us in distribution. I do think some of the distributors said, no, thanks. We're not crazy about this. We have great distribution partners, Gravitas Ventures. They just gave us our checks, by the way. So we finally got our minimum guarantee. Now that got slowed down because of COVID. Boy, Post got really hurt due to COVID, and not just us. So many people did. Poor.
What's the deal? They don't like Kane Hodder? Was it because of the scene, or was Kane Hodder in general?
The content of the scene. Content of the scene. There are females getting killed and children that are put in precarious positions. And not only the little girl who gets killed. Kelly's son was in the film, by the way. Yeah. She said he should audition. I said, I'm not crazy about casting family members. She said, let him audition. He's phenomenal. He's been on Nickelodeon.
And she didn't even play his. She didn't play his mom. Right. She told me about that. Right.
And he was so good. We cast him immediately.
He was.
He had some lines in there. That I don't think people were very crazy about. And
yeah,
so I think those things.
People get weird when kids are getting killed in movies, but it's like it's a movie. First off, that stuff happens in real life. To me, horror it's a horror movie. It should have elements of real life in there to scare you, to shake you up, to let you know, hey man, get out of that little plastic existence you have, your little safe bubble. Get out of that safe bubble. Come face reality. You know?
I'm so tired. I'm not getting into politics because I tell you, politics are a bunch of jabronis, but I'm so sick and fucking tired of people telling us what to fucking think and believe. Fuck them all.
Yeah.
Fuck them on the right and the left side who tell us what to believe, what to think, and how to feel. I'm sick of that shit.
I agree to that. Now, what's next? What's coming up next? You got a project you're working on now?
Few things.
Oh, okay.
So at the very pressing moment, I'm supposed to have an outline done, and I missed my deadline. So I'm sorry, guys, if you see this, but it's coming tomorrow. Got an outline for a new feature film. I'm working with a director, John Jedikowski. It's called The Devil's Circle. I got on board with this thing because they had some attached name actors who are my friends, Bill Oberst Jr., Kelly Wilson Robinson. They had already been attached to the project, and I was like, oh, hell yeah. And so I reached out. I said, hey, cool. He said, hey, we're raising a little bit of money. You got any? I said, no, I'm putting money in my film, but I'll help however I can. So we did a script outline, and they said, hey, you want to do some rewrites, a little bit of rewrites in here and come in and rewrite the script for us? I said, yeah, fuck yeah. So they hired me to do that. I'm gracious for that. And we're getting some of my friends involved, and I think it's going to be really cool. So we're doing that, The Devil's Circle. I'm just going to be a writer on that. That's all I'm doing. And I have to give my baby away and let someone else do it. It's going to be tough for me.
The Devil's Circle. Now,
The Devil's Circle.
Is it related at all to the good things
No.
devils do? No.
No, and if I were directing this, I would change the title only because of that. But I'm not. So, no, this is going to be a kind of a spooky, kind of woods type piece. I don't want to say too much about it now. I don't want to give too much away because it's in the writing process, and what I say may not be in the end result. But it's a scary film that deals with some of the mythology about the devil's circle and about the devil having idle time and idle hands and what happens when he gets to play. So it's going to be interesting.
It's a mythology around the devil's circle. Is the devil's circle a real thing?
Yes, it is a real thing. It's not much when you look at the mythology, but it's just
Does this relate to the Black Circle Boys? Have you seen that movie? You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know, and I haven't. I don't know. I don't think so, but maybe.
Oh,
I don't know.
Don't worry.
I don't think it is. This is more just spooky Southern Gothic kind of, backwoods legend.
Okay, so it's not like a bunch of high schoolers taking acid and smoking meth out in the woods for some blood sacrifice. That wasn't the Black Circle Boys. That's what they did. The blood ritual, man. You got to be high for the blood ritual.
Yeah, we're going to stay away from those tropes. We have some incredible people who are looking to come on board. We're talking to a few other actors and talking to a few producers. I think hopefully this will be great. I'm going to write it, so it'll be good. But the story will be good. But we'll see.
Hopefully the director will,
I like the director. I've met him, and he's a very good guy.
Good.
I think it's in good hands.
Now, one of my last questions. Oh, go ahead. I said,
it's got Bill It'll be good.
One question I always ask all my guests here is what is your favorite horror movie and why?
Easy. They fluctuate. I have a top 3 and they change, but they're essentially tied. Well, the top 3, one is not a horror movie. So the others just being horror movies. It's going to sound like I don't have a wide range, but it is. Top 3 movies I have are Scarface, Dawn of the Dead, and Return of the Living Dead, all because of the impact they had me as a kid. I needed to be a filmmaker because of those movies. Dan O'Bannon, I think, is one of the unheralded geniuses. Before he died, I wish he got to do more. I think we were robbed of having a great director. I wish he could have done more.
Now, when you say Dawn of the Dead, you mean the original or the Zack Snyder?
The original, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Snyder's movie had elements of coolness in it, particularly the beginning, but the rest was
that beginning was intense. That beginning,
and I was like, and then it went into classic. Yeah. No, the original. It was beautiful. It was a movie. It was an anthem. I mean, that thing had character creation, character development, dialogue. It was a movie with zombies in it.
Yeah.
And it was good. Beautiful. They don't make them like that anymore, man.
Hey, you're right about that.
Directors I love are Michael Haneke, Gaspar Noé, Irreversible, fucking Funny Games, those things. And those are my heroes now. Park Chan-wook, the Revenge trilogy, Sympathy for Lady Vengeance, Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, Old Boy, and such. Those are great.
Damn. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to your coming project. Do you know do you have a plan when it's going to come out?
No.
Any idea? Okay. No.
Nope. We're in the dark right now. Right now, it's up to me to write the screenplay, which I'm getting ready to do.
Okay.
I'll tell you more projects that are coming out. They're getting ready to launch. I don't want to say too much about it. I'm cooking up a werewolf feature, by the way. That I want to be my sophomore campaign. If that's not the sophomore campaign, it'll be number 3. I've Bill Oberst and I have talked a little bit about this. I definitely want to work with him again. Bill Oberst Jr. loves werewolves, I think
he's gonna play a werewolf.
If all the stars align, I damn sure want that to be the case.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I think he wants that to be the case. It's going to take this is we can be friends, but this is a profession. Can I pay him enough? Bill's catching fire. He's getting, man, I tell you what, he's been known for and beloved for so long, man, but we got to create a series called Everyone Loves Bill pretty soon. And the money's going to have to be right. The timing's going to have to be right. If the timing is set when he's doing projects, then I can't. Now, I'll do everything in my power to make sure that he is there. But it's a savage dude, man. This movie it's a love story, but it's savage. Other things on the horizon, I do want to get this out really quick, is a few investors have come to me and they've said, "Hey, have you ever thought about doing a Percy standalone?" I said, "Nah, I never have."
Wow.
Well, you should think about it. They said, "We might be thinking about putting money in if you do." I talked to Kane. Kane said, "Fuck yeah." So Justin Boring and I, we are collaborating with some of our friends. Some actor friends of mine. I'll tell you that I reached out to Kelly. I reached out to a few people. I hope I'm not. I hope I can say some names without getting in trouble. Tracy Allen. There are a few other names who are thinking about. Okay, well, maybe we can all collaborate on small things, small animated projects.
Right.
But I'm going to reach out to them. Justin and I are going to reach out to them and say, "Hey, what do you want to do about some voiceover work?" And we reached out to Kane. "You want to do some voiceover work?" Yeah. So I think we're going to do some animated serials about Percy and see if people dig it. And we're going to make it rough and nasty as Percy would be. And if people are like, "I fucking hate this, hell no," then we might leave it alone. If people like it and the investors say this is what we're looking for, then we'll talk. We might look into seeing more Percy.
Well, I'm pretty sure Kane's diehard fans are gonna love it, though. That's the thing.
Well, I hope so. I will tell you this. I'm not going to pull punches. Percy's going to Percy.
Oh yeah, and Percy's a tough character, man. Shoot, man.
Yeah, he's a nasty dude. So Very those nasty. Are some of the things on the horizon. Yeah, and
Jess,
I'm excited about it, man.
Thank you so much for coming on Hard Talk Radio to talk about the good things devils do. I guess they do some good things here and there. I mean, great movie for a starter. I mean, it has its problems. Every beginning movie has its problems. Evil Dead, the original Evil Dead, has many flaws, but it's super campy, which is, I guess, kind of a flaw, but also part of a strength too, depending on who you ask.
Right. And it didn't do bad things for Raimi, that's for sure, you know?
Not at all. The original Clerks was flawed, and the whole production was flawed, but that's what it banked on, you know? It banked on, I don't know what to call it a flaw if it actually was successful, and that's part of its charm, was that it's black and white, it's low budget, you know? Kevin Smith sold his comic book collection to fund it, you know?
Right.
It's so I'm looking forward to your future projects and where do you go from here?
And Devils was supposed to be campy. I have to say that Devils was intentionally campy.
That's what I got from it.
And I need to say this for the brilliant crew I had, and some of the edit. There are some people saying, "Well, there's some editing issues." Well, yeah, we were making an '80s throwback. It's not supposed to be clean. When you watch Rodriguez and Tarantino's Grindhouse, I don't want to compare it to that, but I mean, they had all these editing errors and these little blips and things. We wanted it to look like a throwback 80s movie. We had some hard cuts. We had some breakaways, some musical cues. It was by design. It was a campy film.
Hey, and that's a strength there. At least I like camp. I like campy stuff.
Right.
Now, like I said, thank you so much for coming on Hard Talk Radio to talk about the good things devils do and your future projects. It was great talking with you. In the future, if you ever want to come on and you have, when these projects start blossoming and you can talk about them in more in depth, feel free to come on the show to do so. I think it was pretty fun. Ladies and gentlemen, I've made it this far. Press the like button, share and subscribe, and definitely leave a comment for Jess, and definitely check out the good things devils do if you haven't already. All right.
Thank you, bro.
Y'all take it easy. Y'all have a good one.
You too, man. Thanks. I appreciate you.